Although expensive, college expenses are worth it because they provide the expertise to acquire higher paying jobs. The economic state of the world is better off with college grads, and the social part of the world is better. For these reasons, the expenses of college are worth it. College expenses are far more complicated than just tuition. They cover housing and food, books and supplies, and transportation. You also have to pay for clubs and school activities like dances and sport meets. The average college expense is $11,610 for in-state public four-year institutions to $30,780 for out-of-state students. College gives young adults better chances at getting well-paying jobs that they wanted and went to school for. According to Brookings, college graduates earn better pay by 88% in those jobs because they have a college degree. This is because college grads acquire higher job security and are able to get higher positions in the job when they first start.
I want to go to college. That might seem strange to say since I'm here to argue that it's not worth the cost, but I want to be honest with you. For me personally, college is in my future. I want to study psychiatry. It's a field I'm passionate about and one that has a clear demand and a solid return in investment. But I also recognize that my situation isn't the norm. Not everyone enters college with a long-term plan or a career path that guarantees a steady income, and not everyone finishes what they start. So while I do think college can be a smart investment for some people, it's just not worth the financial risk for the majority of students. Why not? Well, this is because of three major issues: sky-high dropout rates, degrees that don't guarantee relevant jobs, and tuition prices that are just downright predatory. Let's just look at the first one, and it's a big one: dropout rates. Right now in the United States, about 39% of students who enroll in a four-year college don't end up earning a bachelor's degree. That's almost 4 out of 10 students. Think about that. Imagine nearly half of your graduating class going to college and leaving without a degree. And it's just not a missed opportunity. It's an expensive mistake. Those students aren't just walking away empty-handed. Many walk away with thousands in debt, no credentials to show for it, and no clear path forward. So, why do so many drop out? A lot of people assume that it's laziness or poor time management, but that's not it. One of the main reasons is that students feel uncertain about their field of study. A 2023 study from the World Economic Forum found that in California, 30% of college students drop out because they weren't sure about what they wanted to study. That's nearly 1/3 of students walking into a system designed to cost tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, without even knowing why they're there. Why? Because we've sold to young people this one-track mind of vision of success. Graduate high school, go to college, get a job, be happy. But life doesn't always follow that straight line. And for many students, especially those who aren't ready or supported, college can become less of a launchpad and more of a trap. One that drains their savings, hurts their mental health, and leaves them with very few options.
According to the Association of Public Land Grant Universities, the economy is far better off with college graduates for employees instead of college dropouts, or people who didn't go to college because college grads have higher knowledge and skills than people who dropped out or that didn't go to college. Let's think for a moment as well. A lot of people would agree that college costs a lot. There's no doubt about that. It's an arm and a leg. But let's think of the career choices that people might make. Teachers, for instance, they go to college to get a degree in teaching. While it's obviously known that teaching, depending if it's a high school, middle school, elementary school, you're not getting that much money. Unfortunately, that's just how the world is. But a lot of teachers go to college to get a teaching degree, not for the money, but for the experience, and for other teachers to be able to pass down their wisdom from accumulated years, to pass it on to the new youth, for them to form their own decisions and create a better future that will help everyone so that they can explore their passions to the fullest. While yes, it is costly, depending on what your definition of if it's worth it, a lot of teachers or people who go for teaching degrees would probably agree that it is worth the experience to go through college and pay all the money for it so that the next generation could be more informed and make better decisions than the ones in past, and as we learn through more experiences and learn from old experiences as well.
The main reason someone might want to go to college is to gain the knowledge and skill required for high-maintenance careers. While this seems like a no-brainer, it's a lot to consider. Before anything, it should be noted that unless you're an academic prodigy, you are going to have to pay most or all dues, fees, and loans yourself, with the exception of family support. What that means is that you need to have some source of income and not just some nickels and pennies flowing in. The average public in-state college in Arizona has a 4-year total cost of around $20,000 to $30,000, accounting for loans, basic tuition fees, supplies, rooms, and other college needs. That's not cheap. Apart from college fees, food money is important to track as well. Food is becoming more expensive with each passing month. Whether you spend $400 a month on groceries or you live off ramen packets in your local coffee shop, it is something to consider. In order to afford that and still have money left over to be comfortable, you'd have to devote a good chunk of your time and attention to a job while maintaining balance to your college work. If you thought having a job in high school was stressful, it's magnitudes harder in college. According to UVAmagazine.org, college professors will often recommend you study for at least 25 hours a week. Studying includes reading up on textbooks and completing assignments and such. In the same article, it says that students usually fall short of this suggestion, usually clocking in around 12 to 15 hours. That's still a significant amount of time. A part-time job includes working for usually less than 35 hours a week, but even if you're on the low end, you're still dealing with a significant portion of your week being taken by your responsibilities. With all this time taken, it leaves very little time for leisure. Maintaining this balance can be very stressful, even without thinking about money. Add all these different monetary values into the mix, and it's not hard to lose track of everything and spiral into complete exhaustion. Thank you.
According to the university record, the social return extends beyond the economy as well. Greater education reduces criminality and boosts civic participation. And going back to the first argument, college gives a higher chance for employment and better chances in life, causing people to veer away from crime. College also gives people critical thinking skills, causing people to think before they do. College also has high security, preventing crime from happening in college and making a safe environment for students and staff, which causes less stress, causing them to be able to focus more on studying and their jobs when they're not thinking about, oh, this could happen or this could happen.
Some might argue that financial aid makes college more affordable, that with enough scholarships, grants, and loans, the cost isn't really that big of a deal. But let's be honest, for most students, financial aid doesn't fix the problem, it just softens the blow. The average in-state tuition at a public university is just over $10,000 a year, not including housing, books, or fees. Multiply that by 4 years and you're easily looking at $40,000 or more, even with aid. And yes, some students do get a generous amount of money in scholarships. However, most people from middle-class families continue to struggle to pay for college. And what about loans? Student loans are the main way people afford college, but they're not a solution. They're debt, crushing long-term debt. The U.S. student loan crisis has passed $1.7 trillion, and the average borrower takes over 20 years to pay off their loans. That means that college isn't just an investment, it's just a financial burden that follows people well into their 40s and beyond. This is especially damaging for students who don't finish their degrees but still walk away owing thousands. This system where people are forced to borrow tens of thousands of dollars just to get access to basic career opportunities is not affordable, it's not accessible, and it's not fair. Financial aid may offer a lifeline, but it doesn't change the fact that college tuition is still widely overpriced and financially risky for millions of students.
Like what you said, Gabriel, college costs an arm and a leg. The example you made with teachers going to college for a degree in education can actually further prove my point. True, they can enjoy the journey towards acquiring an education degree, but most teachers in Arizona don't make a whole lot of money in the first place. Take the Red for Ed movement that happened when most of us were in elementary school, as an example. That movement was advocating for K through 12 teachers who couldn't make a comfortable living wage with their current job. It's unfortunate that many teachers took years of dedicated study at a college only to be struggling for money afterwards. The cost of college might be too great for an up-and-coming teacher when thinking about the long term. Thank you.
While it is true that a lot of financial aid and tuition programs are a lot, there are still plans like the Save, Pay, and IBR plans that can have repayment terms of 20 or 25 years, and the remaining balance may be forgiven after that time if certain conditions are met. Thank you.
In regards to my opponent's argument, I believe he brought up how the average college graduate usually makes more money, but that's not necessarily true. Statistics that reflect pay rates are often skewed towards STEM and business degrees, which are more high yielding, but that doesn't take into account for liberal art degrees. He also brought up improvement in critical thinking amongst college students, and I just want to say, when did you need to go to college to have critical thinking skills? Those can be acquired through life experiences, and trade schools can also do the same thing for a lower price.
If I'm correct, the claim was about student loans and how they take forever to pay off, but also it depends on your repayment plan, the loan amount, and the interest rate, because those numbers that I brought up earlier, they aren't always the same. That's just the average student loan. They could be lower or they could be less, as if you dropped out of college, your student loans are going to be a little bit less because you weren't in that for the amount of time, so you wouldn't have to pay for new books, more food, pay longer for housing, and yeah.
For these reasons that we have discussed today within this debate, I still believe that college expenses are worth it because they can provide the availability to acquire higher paying jobs. The economy has improved with college grads. The social aspect of the world is enhanced. The people may act like it is an astronomical amount of pay, which it is very possible that, like I've said, that it is an arm and a leg. But there are still, as well as financial aid, which there are many programs, such as a famous one being the Arizona's Promise program, the President Barack Obama program to help lower families pay for the said college tuitions. And even then, with all that borrowed money, like I said in my rebuttal, there are still debt pays and relief consolidation for people being able to pay their debt over time instead of acting like it's all in one sitting and you'll never recover from it. Well, yes, it also takes a stab at your credit if you build enough credit, but even then, you're still able to rebuild it up into years. Thank you.
With the case in point, there is just too much that can go wrong when going to college. As stated earlier, it is far too common that students who study for a 4-year degree finish it within a reasonable time. There is too much money that goes into a degree, and the payout takes a considerable length of time to take advantage of. That's not even to mention the student loans and tuition you have to pay off. Over 2/3 of students graduate college with some form of student loan to owe. According to educationdata.com, college tuition has increased by 197.4% since 1963, and that's adjusted for inflation. Even with all of that, it's still not impossible to get by without a college degree. Some people may argue it's not even worth the consideration. Along with this, college is not the only option. Once you graduate, you are given the option to enter into a trade school, so there's definitely options. Trade schools are usually cheaper than college, with much shorter terms. After high school, you are also given the option to enlist in the military, and some people are fine sticking with that. Basic military training programs give you access to temporary living quarters, food to eat, and clothing to wear, all free. With too much to factor in, college may simply be too difficult to manage for most. There's too much to worry about, so much to keep track of, and many responsibilities you are held accountable for. For these reasons, it is that I argue with the opposition today. Thank you.